Hello there, it's Josh again. About 5:30 on Tuesday, the 7th of November. This video is a flick through a mark your card video for William, who's off to Musselburgh, and anyone else who may be off to Musselburgh or just want to have a kind of window into my thoughts as I flick through this particular card. I have changed, I should add, and kind of been out the house and had a shower since the Simon Dow video yesterday evening. This is my standard video recording jumper at this time of year, although I have actually put the heating on for the first time, as it has got a bit chilly up here in the northwest, but you don't really care for such things. I'm sure it will also be fairly nippy, no doubt, up in Scotland near Edinburgh at Musselburgh. The ground is decent. It's currently good. I think they had a little bit of rain, but I wouldn't anticipate it being much different. Maybe good to soft at worst. So we'll kind of anticipate it being good. If it goes soft or heavy, then most of this analysis will probably go out of the window. Let's jump to the first race at 12:45. The things you may want to point out are kind of, if you want to look at a race in more in depth, you may want to look at those trainers that are in form with the green little symbols. So we've got Mr. Willens, Thompson, and James Ewart there. So you can note that down in terms. If we flick to speed ratings, you can see Waltz, Darling, Mini Me, the Wise One, are kind of near the top of the tree there. What else do I want to do? I want to have a look at, well, there's three horses that qualify against our stats, which are in section 1 above this video. Buckled is one of them at 9-4. He looks to have a decent and solid chance. The Wise One at 9-2, and Lucinda Russell's horse here at 16-1. If I click on the instant expert tab, so we can see most of these are fairly exposed handicaps, although a couple are arguably still open to improvement, actually more than one. Having just said that, the Wise One's fairly lightly raced. Buckled looks like he's improving, and there's a couple others of interest. But you can see there that the Wise One ticks all the boxes for race conditions, is £6 above his last winning mark, but is fairly lightly raced. I'd like to think he's still open to improvement. Lucinda Russell's horse has a good record at the track. I mean, there is plenty of amber and green in this race, which suggests that it is competitive. Waltz Darling is £7 below his last winning mark. A few of these above their last. Russell's horse is £9 below his last winning mark, and the Wise One's above. So an interesting, open and competitive race. If I look at pace, there's a little graph there. I actually want to click on the numbers for a moment, see who's likely to make it. Well, the Russell horse may try and make all, might be worth some change. I mean, he was pulled up the last day. His last 4 or 5 runs have been absolutely atrocious, but he does have winning form against all race conditions, and it looks like he may be able to dictate or try and lead if they want him to. The market may well guide. If I was at the racetrack, I'd probably have a couple of pounds on the tote or take a price just to see. The issue with Buckled, he is a hold-up horse in a race that may be run without much pace. Hopefully they race him a bit more prominently. He looks to have he looks to be a solid favourite. The Wise One at 9-2, arguably short enough, but he could go well given the break. He has a fitness question, and that race that he won there, you can see at Musselburgh, the Then What feature. It wasn't exactly a strong race. There's 20 horses have run out of it since, including him last time, and nothing has yet won. Has as yet won. So there's a question mark over his actual ability, but he may be up there. And of course, I may not have mentioned the winner. Waltz Darling's been consistent, keeps running his races, but keeps bumping into one. I'd probably go with some of the Musselburgh specialists, and I probably wouldn't look outside of the 3 stats qualifiers, actually, if I was going racing. Buckled is a solid horse, I think, but that is short. But if you're going racing, you sometimes want winners, and he does look like he has a decent chance of following up from that run the last day. So yeah, that's him. And yeah, the Russell horse I'd probably have a nibble on. But yeah, no overly strong views on that race. it looks fairly competitive. Let's flick on to the quarter-past-1. A novices handicap Chase O'Joy. When I had a quick flick through this before recording this video and before knowing the odds, I thought the Draper horse looked interesting. He's 11 to 8, which is short enough. Rose Dobbin hasn't been going okay. They have performed under market expectations, which suggests a few short the price horses have been fluffing their lines a bit. This isn't a race I want to focus on for too long, really. I suppose if you just went with the one kind of class winner in the race, you would go with Final Fling, actually. And you've got Rose Dobbin. This horse is having his first run in a chase, it would appear. I'm not sure if he's got any point-to-point form from back in the day or not. So you're taking jumping and everything else on trust, really, which might make 10 to 3 a bit short. This isn't a race I would go mad in particularly. Most of these look mediocre and out of form and are going, well, and they're inexperienced over fences, some of them chasing for the first time. You've got the Menzies horse. If I go on pace, which is always interesting, running heels might look interesting, just because he has kind of been prominent and made all the last couple of runs. Whether or not they try that over fences, he has got some hunter chase form. This race is over 20 furlongs, so it looks like he may not have stayed over 3 miles or further, if I have a look at that. And these trips here kind of, well, they're over hurdles. He won one race. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking that my cogs in my head are whirring away. I suppose he is interesting from the pace angle. Menzies is a questionable form. Oh, and she actually has a really dire record with horses returning after 60 days or more. So who knows what to do with that information. I think I'd kind of be guided by the market, and those three would guide me, but that might be a race just to spend at the bar, really, and not betting at all. It looks a bit tricky. You've got this Russell horse who was pulled up last time. The market made guide with him. He's totally unexposed, and we know the trainer and jockey do fairly well here in regular handicaps. Maybe because of his unexposed nature, you could say the heavy ground was an excuse for being pulled up the last day. At least he comes here fit. And Russell normally has them aimed for chasing. He races prominently as well. So actually, having gone through and round the houses and all of those, I wouldn't want to back those top three in a race like this at those kind of odds. That's just me. I would probably have a little nibble on the Lucinda Russell horse. At least there's a valid excuse for that pulled up last time out, I think. And he's gone okay in maiden hurdles. He steps up on trip on a couple of them, down on trip from the last day, back on decent ground. So who knows? He might be useless, but he's 8 to 1, and that might be worth a little nibble. I should think he'll be well scored. You've got this novice hurdle. Generally, in these types of races, you want to follow the market, and it's suggesting, if I organise by odds, yeah, Beyond the Clouds, from memory, I've watched that race the last day. He won that fairly comfortably. Let me just have a sip of my tea. He won that fairly comfortably. I can't think the penalty will stop him, but he's 4 to 6. Golden Jeffrey's 3 to 1, who would probably try and make all. So you could try and take him on. The speed rating suggests he is the classy one, really. Yeah, this might be another race. A lot of bar time spent during this Musselburgh card. The Kirby horse is interesting. At least he kind of had a run after the flat. He ran okay there. He might be kind of getting the hang of things. They might race him more prominently. You never know, given he got outpaced the last day. At 10 to 1, he might be an interesting each way bet. The speed rating would put you off a bit, but these are funny kind of races. A lot of these horses here just won't be good enough. They'll be running to build up experience and get handicap marks. The fact he kind of ran okay on his first novice hurdle the last day suggests they might try and be competitive with him. So the Kirby horse each way might be of some interest. The favourite looks pretty solid. You might want to try some forecasts maybe with the favourite, or if you're going racing or something more extravagant. But I won't spend much more time on that. What am I ticking around to 10 minutes? We get on to the handicap chase here. Um, John Williams, I think, looks solid at 9 to 4. If I click the Instant Expert tab, you will see here that he's got course form, distance form. He's only £2 above his last winning mark. They see much for muchness in this race. What interested me with him was pace. And again, there's a few hold-up horses here, the likes of Endeavour. He might need a bit of luck in running, and we'll have to close at some point. John Williams will try and make all. Rachel McDonald's decent. We saw how well she did on Harry the Viking. I think that's the same jockey that won on him at the weekend. He tends to lead. He comes here in form, and I suspect they will try and make all again. He looks versatile. He's won on heavy, and he's won on good. So who knows? What with the claim, I can't think he's kind of handicapped out of this. He's won at class 4. Yes, that was a class 5 the last day, but that was decent enough. And at least he is fit and in form and will front run. So again, at 9 to 4, if you're going racing, that might be a decent enough bet, I think. Endeavour's a 12-year-old and he's a hold-up horse, and he returns back over fences. I would probably be happy to leave him at his price, but he could go well. The Smith horse here, he's been running okay. He drops back in trip, which may or may not make a difference. Let's just have a look at his record. Yeah, he's 1 from 15 chasing. That win was over 19 furlongs for Charlie Longston. Hasn't done much for his new trainer as yet. But yeah, I don't think I'd want to overcomplicate that really. You've got an informed horse who's won at the track, who's won on the ground. Yes, he might want it softer, but you can't say he doesn't handle it. And they will try and make all with John Williams. Whether or not he has the pace or something else may try and take him on, I'm not sure. But the trainer's in form. He does just look solid. He might make 9 to 4, 5 to 2, decent enough. So that will do. That's another short one. The yard may have a double. Who knows? Now we've got the another handicap hurdle here. Who did I want to pick out? I was going to click on the Instant Expert and see what stands out on the place stats here. Again, there's a lot of green, a lot of amber, which suggests it is competitive enough on the place front. If I click the win tab, you've got Vercingetorix at the top, but he's £14 above his last winning mark. You've got a lot of red here. Distance trip question for King's Wharf, Desert Island Dusk. Yeah, there's kind of no one really that's kind of below the last handicap mark. I suppose Johnny Delta might be interesting from a handicapping point of view, because he is the only horse in the race that is on his last winning mark. Everything else has to prove and win above a mark that as yet they haven't done. Well, sorry, that's against their last win. So they're above their last win. Of course, there might be some progressive horses within this race. Suggestion is interesting at 11 to 2. I kind of think, looking at that and the odds, Johnny Delta and Suggestion may look most interesting. If I look at pace, again, yeah, there's a few hold-up horse in here. The Smith horse actually. And I can't. If you look at the stats here at the top in terms of the stats for runners at Musselburgh doing well in terms of race position, you can see that leading or being prominent is generally the place to be. And if you'd have kind of focused or could find every horse that had led in the last couple of years at the track and this kind of course and distance, you'd be doing quite well. The Smith horse looks like he is going to try and lead. The question is whether or not he is quick enough, just because the ground is a complete unknown. They've raced him on heavy, good to soft once, so I've got no idea really. The ground is a bit of an unknown. We don't know that he doesn't handle it. It'll be interesting to see when they circle and line up. I wouldn't necessarily be put off the trainer form. 8 to 1 might be worth a small nibble in the sense they may try and make all. He may hate good ground, but you're guessing really, because there's no evidence that he doesn't handle it, because he hasn't really run on it. So in that scenario, you kind of want to price. I'd probably have a little nibble, a kind of fiver at the track on strong economy probably. The most likely or interesting ones, I suppose I should pick out. Well, we've got three in this, haven't we? Actually, damn. On the stats front, King's Wharf was Cresswell. I'm not sure if he's a non-runner actually. There's no jockey book, so I'll check that. Who do we have? Superior Command for the trainer jockey combo. Yeah, this one comes here fit actually and has been running well. Again, he will need a lot of luck in running because he's a hold-up horse, but he does have course form, and he won from 103. Maybe the handicapper's got him, but I'm not 100% sure. He is a stats pick, so maybe Superior Command at 4-1 would possibly look the most interesting of the stats picks. It's a competitive race. I suppose if you want to go to one at the big odds, Sindarban would be interesting for the stats. Mr. Dalgleish, well, the angle here was 90 days off the track, but if I just look at 60 days here, you can see, kind of 7 from 34, and he's 1 from 1 in handicap hurdles, which is interesting enough. 2 from 3 and 4 from 6 in all jumps races, with horses that have had 60 days or more off in the last kind of few years. So he's interesting. He is completely unexposed. He clearly fluffed his lines the last day, but maybe they've done something with him. He looks like he'll be prominent at 11-1. You will kind of know before the race whether or not he's got a chance, because if they fancy him, I should think the money may come. If he kind of drifts, you'd be a bit concerned. So I suppose two at prices. Kirby's horse had 222 days off. He may go okay. That would suggest there was kind of a problem, maybe, or who knows. They might have just given him time to develop. 11-2 might be short in the context of the days off the track, but I'd say he looks interesting. At 2 at a price, I would say the Dalgleish horse and the Smith horse. One will try and make all. The Dalgleish horse might be prominent, and then you've got Superior Command, who's on a stats qualifier, and by that point we've nearly backed half the field. So use that information as you please and kind of weave your way through and pick which ones you want. You can see the speed ratings there. Strong economy might be up against it actually, but who knows. And then you've got the pace map here, which might be of some interest as well. So yeah, that's the 3 o'clock, which leaves us one more, and I can get this video done within 20 minutes. Oh yes, Blue Cascade. Well, hopefully Thompson is in form. 3 from 7, 4 places the last 14 days. 4 from 9, 6 paces. We generally follow him. Well, the stats for handicap hurdles here, which is where he does best. But this Blue Cascade, you will see here from the Internet Expert why he's interesting. He's 2 from 5 at the course. He's one of 2 that's proven to stay. The Chicago outfit, I suppose, is interesting enough, just based on those, that particular profile. Of some interest as well as the fact that Blue Cascade will try. Well, he kind of disputed the lead the last day. He has kind of raced prominently before. Maybe they will try and do so again, although you've got the Barnes horse in there. Clearly, when last seen, he was completely out of form. The thing I wanted to highlight was his kind of 5 from 29 in his career. He's 4 from 18 over fences. That goes to, and he's also, that's what I want to focus on, sorry, his record after a break. He's 2 from 6, 3 places after a rest of 60 days or more. Looks like a couple of those may have been on seasonal reappearance. It might be the question that catching him, the best time to catch him now is fresh. But he looks decent. He may have been outclassed the last kind of when last seen. Clearly there is a well-being issue, but he won well off 111 here in November last year when he led, and he kind of stayed in a class 3. This is a drop down into a class 2. That race was not too bad. He's dropped £3 and gets £7 off his back. So what with the trainer being informed, the fact he'll race prominently, he has the ability to feature here if he wants. You've got Chicago outfit, who looks badly out of form. and might have a fitness question. No Such Number's been off the track quite a while as well. He wasn't in good best of form in last season, has a stamina question. Bright Prospect looks like he might just be that if the market is to be believed. If I look at the trainer, there's not too much information on this trainer by the looks of things. Not within GG's anyway, I'll have to have a look. But he, Brian Hughes rides, which is interesting enough, I suppose you can see, but he's 11 to 8. He has been held up in the past. Hopefully he's held up again and lets Blue Cascade get away on the front end. It's 11 to 8. That's too short for me. If I was at the track, I would have a dabble on Blue Cascade and hope that he bounces back to form. So that's that run through. I may not have even mentioned a winner, but hopefully you can see the method to my madness. And for William or anyone else that takes note of any of that content, hopefully there are a couple of winners in there. Or in any case, some of the information points the way to some winners of your own. So with that said, I will say thanks for watching, and this is Josh saying bye for now.